now for Options Insight. I'm Abigail Doolittle. Joining me from the CBOE in Chicago is Scott Bauer of Prosper Trading Academy. Scott, thanks so much for taking the time. You know, it's amazing. We spoke about a week ago, but over that time period, Scott, we have now seen the S&P 500's year-to-date range break to the downside. It could suggest technically that we'll see an equal and opposite move to the downside, perhaps toward 2,200. How likely do you think that might be?
You know, Abigail, I'd say it's anyone's guess right now, and I hate to say that, but that's really how the market is trading right now. The market is trading with, obviously, a very negative sentiment, sell-first mentality, but, you know, there's lots of good things happening as well. We have earnings coming up. I don't know that we break down to that level, but certainly the pulse right now is to the downside.
Well, you brought up earnings, Scott, and it's so interesting because when you have market action, the type that we've seen recently, volatility, everybody, of course, wants a reason. So we're talking about the Fed, the Brexit, all these different factors trade. Yep. But at the end of the day, it does come down to the corporate profit outlook. And in Q3, for the first time, the 2019 view was revised down slightly for the first time in quite a while. If we continue to see more of that, similar to what happened with Carnival Cruise Lines today, do you think that that could really create more of a bearish backdrop? Reason for selling?
It does for now, but let's see what happens. Let's see what happens when some of these big companies start reporting in mid to late January, because with estimates now having been lowered and so much negativity out there, if we continue to get some decent numbers, that may be exactly what the market is looking for in the catalyst to maybe bounce back a little bit.
Okay, so you're hopeful that the first quarter, I should say, the fourth quarter earnings season reported in the first quarter of 2019 yep. could in fact be bullish. Let's talk about your trade on Nike.
Yeah, absolutely. Earnings after the close today. Contrarian view. I actually like the upside here, but bottom line is it's going to come down to what their guidance is, not necessarily what their revenue, what their bottom line is. I like the upside here. There's some cheap upside plays. Next week, December 28th, I'm buying the 72.5 call spread. $2.50 wide. That can be done somewhere in the range of 65 to 70 cents right now. The option market right here is pricing in, Abigail, a move of about $4.50 to $5. If we get that to the upside, that's going to hit this sweet spot. I think there's some real positive news potentially coming out here.
I love your bullish view, Scott. In 30 seconds or less, though, could you talk to us about what would really concern you, maybe turn you bearish?
Yeah, absolutely. If we don't see any sort of, I don't want to say resolution, but any sort of positivity with the tariff talk prior to the end of the year, which I think we're going to happen. I think that's going to happen. If we don't see that, that would absolutely turn me negative, at least to the start of the year.
Great perspective. Scott Bauer out in Chicago at the CBOE from Prosper Trading Academy. Thank you so much for joining us for Options Insight. From New York, this is Bloomberg.